Hello and welcome to Blythe Ray Business News. Today we're joined by Martin Eales. Martin is Chief Executive of AIM-listed Ironveld, to give it its South African pronunciation. Ironveld listed on AIM with a ticker of IRON and a market capitalisation of around £7 million sterling. Exciting times for the business, Martin, as you're now moving forward to financing the production at the Ironveld Bushveld project through the acquisition of the FCF smelter facility. Now, talk us through that. You've announced a placing to raise these funds. Also, please shed some light on the financing, the rationale behind the placing, as well, importantly, as how you're going to use the money.
Yeah, well, lots of questions there, Tim, but happy to answer them. The key thing is that the placing announced today enables us to complete the acquisition of the FCF smelter that we announced a few weeks ago with certainty, and we're fully funded for all the capex we need to get into production. For those who followed the Ironveld story, this is a fantastic resource that the company has been on the cusp of developing for some years now, and I'm pleased to say this is a transformational deal that enables us to get an existing facility to process our ore and sell our exciting products, which really involve three separate revenue streams of high purity iron, titanium and vanadium. We have not only the exciting news today that we have raised the funds to enable us to complete the transaction with certainty and swiftly within the exclusivity period, but two items of news today which will really excite investors that we haven't been able to announce until now are that we've been advised, as a minimum, the insurance value of the new facility that we're acquiring is at least £30 million, and that we are able to say for the first time that we have a commercial 5-year offtake for our vanadium product with Glencore, who everybody will have heard of. You mentioned rationale. The rationale for completing the placing now was the certainty of securing payment on the acquisition and the funds we need for refurb. I think all of our shareholders in the wider market will know we have announced another transaction from a South African investment group, and they are still working very hard to close funding to invest in Ironveld. Our board took the view that the door is always open to that group, but given the exclusivity period, we wanted certainty to close the deal now.
So just before we move on to the funding, you mentioned the refurbishment. Roughly how long is the refurb going to take?
We would hope no more than the 6 to 9 months we've announced previously, and I believe that is conservative, and we can do much better than that. As we've said previously, there are 3 furnaces within the smelter we want to bring on stream. We will be able to refurbish them sequentially. So number 1, of course, can be in operation while number 2 and number 3 are being refurbed. So the 6 to 9 months is really to get the full facility on stream, although we would hope to be processing ore long before that deadline.
One of the players involved in the financing has been Grosvenor. Now, are they still involved? Do you expect them to be raising funds? And what would those funds be used for?
Yeah, sorry, I did touch on them briefly a second or two ago. They're a very well-connected South African group. We've got a great relationship with them. They are finalising a funding process of their own. The door is open to them to come back in and invest and become significant investors in Ironveld once they've raised their funding. We believe they will be great partners, being a South African group, to enable us to develop even more quickly and successfully once they come in. One example of a way they can come in is that we have a 10-year deferred payment on the smelter that we owe to the sole creditor. And one of the things we've discussed with Grosvenor is that they'll immediately come in and their funds will take over that debt as a way of them investing in Ironveld. So lots of things we can do with them. They remain keen to invest in us, and we do believe they will make great partners in future once they are funded.
Okay. Since you've announced the plans for the acquisition, you have been there's been a requisition for an extraordinary general meeting. Look, has there been an impact from this? If so, what has that had on what impact has it had on the placing? How is it going to impact, if any at all, the development of the project?
Yeah, you're right, Tim. As we announced to the market, one of our shareholders when approached about the placing, decided to send in a requisition. We believe that the overwhelming support we've had from our remaining shareholders and the wider market is tantamount to the support the investors have for us continuing with the board's strategy to acquire the smelter and move forward. We will, of course, meet the obligations of the Companies Act and facilitate a general meeting for the shareholder who's requested one, but it hasn't had any effect on our plans. And the key thing is the support of our vast body of remaining shareholders and new investors.
Thanks for clarifying that. Before we finish, look, if this goes through, there's a few more hurdles to get over, yeah, but if this goes through, it's transformational for Ironveld. So just give viewers what you think are the top 3 things that we should be thinking about, taking away from this interview. What does this transaction do for Ironveld? What are the top 3 things?
3, okay. This is the moment that Ironveld moves from a development company into a production company. It is on the cusp of that transformation. I think the smelter acquisition is us acquiring a fantastic asset at a superb price. And really the placing and support we've had from our shareholders in the wider market is proof that we're following a strategy that is believed in and supported.
Martin, thanks for joining us. Please come back and keep us updated as this transaction wends its way forwards. That was Martin Eales, Chief Executive of Ironveld, on the cusp of a transformational transaction for the company. That's it from Blythe Ray Business News for this edition. Thanks for watching.